All right, everybody, welcome to Market Pros. My guest today is Ford. How are you doing today, Ford?
I'm doing well, Brian. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Good, good. It's my pleasure. So real quick, can I get a rundown of your experience in the markets, crypto, NFTs as a whole?
Sure. So I think I'm always happy to be very open that in terms of the time, like on the calendar that I've spent in the crypto NFT space. It's been fairly short lived. It's felt like 10 years, but it's actually only been since April of last year before I bought my first crypto. I started my first Coinbase account and bought my first NFT. My background is in business development, commercial development. I work in the biotech industry, and I've been just fascinated by science and technology. I have an engineering background, and a big Tesla fan, and just a general kind of science geek at heart. So when I noticed that Elon Musk bought Bitcoin, I kind of started to pay attention. Then I heard about the Coinbase IPO. And I was looking at it, I was like, wow, it looks like a pretty big IPO. This I guess something's happening here, right? And then I had a buddy that was kind of in it, and he was giving me some of the background. I just started searching on podcasts, heard a podcast with Mark Cuban on Delphi Digital, and then that led me to search about gaming. Chris Dixon is a partner at Andreessen Horowitz. He does a lot of interviews. So, I just started devouring as many podcasts as I could. And I think one of the Delphi Digital podcasts said this guy, SBF, was somebody that you can't go wrong with. You follow his investments. So I, Googled him, and it led me to FTX and Solana. And then, I heard about, gaming as like a real use case. And I was like, well, I like games. And I guess something must have led to Solana Star Atlas, right? And then, I read the Star Atlas white paper, and I was like, can this be real? It was just like crazy. I was like, this sounds amazing. And that this was the time where NFTs were really taking off, and I didn't really understand the difference at that moment in time between like Ethereum and Solana. But then I figured out how to buy the first Discovery of Iris poster on getting my Phantom wallet set up and transferring the Solana and doing the whole thing, and thinking back to that time, it was like so foreign and weird. But then I just kept I just felt like I couldn't sleep for the next 4 or 5 months, right? Just reading and listening to podcasts and talking to people that, I didn't have that many friends around, but a few people here and there, and got into some buddies, got me into some Telegram groups, and, just asked a ton of questions. And eventually, I was just following everything on the Discord with Star Atlas, and it all just made a ton of sense. And I was just, fell down that proverbial rabbit hole. And I know it's sad that you left AFIA, but I know you were there, and you remember Fun Cracker, and he would always talk to the town halls. And one of the I guess it was in the summertime, early summer last year, he got on the mic and said that they're starting a guild, or maybe it was in the Discord, right? And so I think I was like the 6th person to sign up in the AFIA Discord. We were just, it was a great time to meet more people that were passionate about Web3 and gaming and kind of just Solana ecosystem in general. And I probably spent more time than I'd care to admit, just sort of engaging on the Discord, and becoming a sort of a geek in all the details in Star Atlas. So then got me to the whether or not it's a justified title or not, right, to the community expert kind of role there in the server. And since I think it wasn't just Star Atlas that I fell in love with. Obviously, I'm sort of a massive believer in the vision that Michael Wagner and team are building with Star Atlas. But I was just sort of really intrigued by the business model and the kind of the whole blockchain gaming. I hesitate to call it play to earn, because I don't really think it's the right moniker for the business model. But yeah, just very intriguing. I do think it's not just about gaming. It's about gaming being the sort of that first use case for proving kind of the blockchain technology. It's really about new business models, in my opinion, than it is about software. But yeah, so that's kind of got me interested in all kinds of games, and kind of just excited to see these things get to market here this year.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy how that one decision just to jump down that rabbit hole has like a ripple effect. Next thing you know, you're here, you're here, you're here, and you're looking back and you're like, all these decisions I've made just derived from that one decision to take that risk, to take that leap, you know what I mean, into the
Yeah,
markets, into crypto, and then the rest is history. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
it's a wild ride. It's it's a wild ride. That's for sure. Uh, so what are your long-term? I know you said that you're fairly new, but I think that you've delved deep enough to have some long-term perspectives. So what are your long-term perspectives on the crypto space as a whole, whether it's metaverse, metaverse gaming, uh, NFTs, the crypto markets, where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
yeah. I mean, I think I do believe in the vision of well, it's hard to know exactly what exact vision of the metaverse will play out, but I think some combination of what the Star Atlas team envisions, combined with the sandbox and some of the other models out there. I mean, there's still a lot to be determined whether it's going to be kind of the walled garden that controlled by Facebook and other
Yeah,
big
I
centralized
don't.
corporates. Hopefully not, right?
I think
Hopefully,
I think they're
yeah.
late. I think they're late.
I
Like
I mean,
Facebook.
I don't disagree, but I also don't want to take anything for granted, right? And
Yeah.
I do appreciate the not to get sidetracked on a different topic, but I do appreciate the tack that Star Atlas is taking and the team in terms of raising capital
Oh yeah.
and being fairly, I guess, frugal is the word, or being very thoughtful about really building up a big war chest, because if they're going to go against the likes of of Meta and I'm not sure if Microsoft, I'm not really aware they stand, but whether whatever the other big corporate interests are that might want to try to control the kind of the next version of the internet, I think they will need a big war chest. But yeah, so I I'm not really an expert in virtual reality or augmented reality, but it sounds like Apple's working on some stuff there. It sounds like I just listened to the Lex Friedman, Mark Zuckerberg interview the other day, and it sounds like he's obviously a believer in virtual reality and augmented reality. So I mean, something like that seems to be the future. But that's just one. I think that's like the surface of it, really, right? Because so much of it comes down to your identity, your privacy, your ownership of your personal data, the protection of all of that, right? And I'm a big believer in that. This is on a path to really make a lot of progress for humanity. As it relates to, I guess I've used the term more of an enlightened capitalism, right? Where you're, I mean, if you think about it, most corporations, while they do have shareholders that vote, it's really a sort of it's not really democratic, right? Because it's really controlled by the interests at the top of the board and the executives, right? They're pretty much control the company, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg pretty much controls Metaverse. Elon Musk pretty much controls Tesla, and there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe that's ultimately, maybe I'll be proven wrong, right? But I do think I'm more of a democratic approach to it, which is what DAOs provide. Provides the opportunity to share the value creation with the customers effectively. So that's a revolutionary kind of concept, and it's not a. I mean, the technology makes it happen, but the actual progress is about a business model that's now empowered because of the technology.
Yeah. So, what what part of the metaverse and just I know you're into Star Atlas, so we'll just kind of stick with that. What uh what part of Star Atlas first made you want to jump in? I don't know how big you've bet on it. I know I have a pretty big bet on it, and for my own personal reasons. But so what are your reasons? Why did you dive so deep into it? Why are you here?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's. I mean, sure, the money's nice. It was less. I mean, it is real money. I mean, my wife is being very trusting of where some of that savings account go or where, but for me, it's like it's enough skin in the game to force me to learn about it, right? To drive my behavior to to make it interesting, right? And it's about education, right? Because I mean, the what I've learned over the past 10 months is sort of priceless compared to the amount of capital I have. I mean, I've done well, right? A big fan of space exploration, of kind of the space, Star Wars genre. Um, the the business model of the gaming and play to earn, it does require you to build an economy. I've never played EVE Online, but I've since learned enough about it to understand that, yeah, that's a virtual economy. It's not on the blockchain, but it's a virtual economy. So, I understand that Star Atlas is sort of modeled in in that fashion. But once you dig into it deeper, and you kind of take a little bit of a leap of faith, because who knows if this is the way it'll play out. But Michael's, out of the interviews, he's often talked about it being a great place to experiment with businesses in a virtual world, right, where the stakes are a little bit lower. And I do think that's true. um, so it does enable this sort of innovation in really business models and just trying out different things, whether it be for manufacturing supply chains, because AFI is a ship, manufacturing guild, right? So, but or whether it's related to how you do entertainment, because obviously the expectation is there'll be a lot of performance based businesses, entertainment, music and the like, being able to be hosted in the metaverse. But I think longer term, I think I'm really interested to see if you can. Michael's also talked about education. I think education is a big area that's kind of a public service that's kind of generally not great, in my opinion, throughout, at least in the United States, in terms of just kind of the state of um, education, and the fact that we're not like strong in the U.S. in science and math. And I do think the metaverse provides an opportunity to really, I mean, the people say gamify this or that, throw it around loosely, but I guess I do think that there's, learning should be a lot more fun than the way kids experience it. Right? I mean, I hated school. I just didn't always counted down the moment till I would just be able to get out of class. And I'm sure obviously not alone, and many kids are like that. It doesn't have to be like that, right? Because
Right.
if you present the content in the right way, I think education can be a lot more engaging and entertaining, and I think the metaverse can help bring that to fruition. And then beyond education, I think you get into the realm of uh, can you gamify research and development for different industries, right? I do think that's not out of the realm of possibility. And I mean, I think it would be easier said than done, but I do think that's an area where you could experiment with some business cases, right? Because so much of engineering is done in a computer, in a CAD program, right? And these spaceships are all, obviously they're fictional, but they look awful freaking real. And why can't you apply, have real civil engineering applications, and be able to test, whether you're stress testing structures that obey the laws of physics, and eventually expand that into chemistry and maybe biology, right? So I do think, I mean, obviously, those are very broad, nebulous concepts, but I do think those are areas that are fertile for the technology, and I don't think the general public really appreciates. They think about Bored Apes and artwork and scams, and it really is sad that there's so many scams in the crypto industry. But it's the Wild West. It's unregulated. It's a new technology. But I really do hope that the general public and politicians and regulators start to appreciate that this is a real innovation that can help societies and improve kind of make progress in the world.
So, what advice, if you could go back to day one, what advice would you give yourself? Day one of crypto, day one of metaverse, whatever got your attention first. What advice would you give to yourself to take
Uh,
with you in the future?
I I guess. I mean, this is actually kind of a kind of a boring piece of advice, but like, I mean, I love what Bitcoin is, right, and digital gold. But I don't know. For me, it just took me a while to like. I felt guilty for buying anything else other than Bitcoin, just because depending on how you get introduced to listen
Right.
to Michael Saylor interviews or whatnot and the Bitcoin maxis. But you quickly start to realize, well, if you're going to be getting into more speculative, innovative projects, it's you quickly just I guess I wish I would have had. I mean, I had the kind of the intuition that I need to look for value creation with credible teams on real business cases, real value propositions. That's what kind of investing is all about. And I really, again, I guess I am investing, but I don't think of it as investing, right? More of as a sort of R&D education. But I wish sooner I would have just had that conviction as learning, and getting into different projects that this is, this is about getting into things that are credible, tangible, with real value propositions, and it's you basically just stay away from all these crap coins, right? That people when I first got in were talking about. Cardano is amazing, right? And I'm like, okay, well, it seems like a lot of people were following Cardano, but I just never really understood it. Eventually, it got to the point where I just I don't see anything being built on Cardano that may be a great layer one. But I mean, even the fact that like Ethereum, Solana, BNB were layer ones, and what layer ones were, right? I mean, I think the whole there's sort of a lack of just basic introductory education. I think it's maybe a lot better now. I think a lot's happened in the past 9 months, but back then, you could find courses. Maybe there were great courses, and I just wasn't finding them, or I wasn't, or maybe it's just one of those things where, in hindsight, it seems like all the stuff makes sense, or should have been easier to learn. But it yeah, I sorry, I rambled on a bit there. I don't know if I would have done anything
No, it's
differently
okay.
other than maybe have a little bit more firm conviction sooner about certain things.
Okay. We're almost out of time. So, do you have any closing thoughts for the audience?
No, I just uh, would encourage people to kind of follow their convictions. And if for any skeptics out there, you're right to be skeptical. There are a lot of there are some bad actors. I wouldn't say a lot, but I think there's mostly great people in the space, experimenting and building great projects and have fantastic visions. And I would just encourage people to follow their vision and really go after it. And yeah, wish you all the luck, Brian, with your channel. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. The pleasure is all mine. If everyone enjoyed the video, please smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.